Welcome in to another edition of the Blue White Tailgate Podcast, bonus post-game coverage, our rapid reaction. You will notice it is myself, Andrew Klista, and Mike Gross of the Gross Rational Product here post-Michigan State. No Frank Bodani. It's not that he's not covering the game. Frank Bodani is in East Lansing. Mike and I not making the trip. Frank Bodani is in post-game, so we look Mike, am I right? We're looking forward for what Frank is going to bring us tomorrow, later tonight, in phone calls and everything of what he's getting post game.
Yes, yeah. He's it's a little hectic immediately after the games if you're writing, especially if you're writing for a newspaper and you're on deadline, which that's a lot of people don't realize that's pretty hectic. It's pretty tense.
A lot of deadlines. Us in the TV world, we don't have that anymore because nobody watches TV local news, so we're just throwing stuff right to the web anyway.
What a relief that they're
exactly. Nobody watches local TV anymore, so hence why we're doing this. That's why we do this. So, Mike, it's the numbers are kind of staggering. Penn State wins its first football game since September 13th. Its first win versus a Power 4 team since December 21st of 2024 against SMU, and its first win versus a Big Ten team since November 30th of 2024 when they beat Maryland 44-7, a 28-10 victory over Michigan State. Yes, Sparty is 3-6 on the year, but let's not kid ourselves. For a large portion of this game, Penn State seemed to carry momentum from the Indiana game over. They've responded to Terry Smith, and they look like a competent football team for much of this football game today.
You could see the formula. I thought, especially on offense, you could see the formula of how this team maybe could have been. I thought in the second half, their offensive line played well enough to allow them to kind of dominate the line of scrimmage and run the ball and grind it out with a tremendous performance by Kaytron Allen. And they also hit a grand slam, taking a shot down the field on a play that was perfectly blocked. It was the perfect call for the coverage that Michigan State was in. And Gary Danielson on TV pointed out that both the early throw over the middle to Pena and the home run to Ross were on the same play call. Grunk Meer hit the intermediate route one time and the bomb the other time. So that's obviously what Terry Smith and a lot of us have been talking about. You don't need to hit a ton of them. Penn State wasn't uniformly excellent in this game. I thought the first half was a struggle against, again, a not very good team. But it's significant that you could see what the blueprint was, and maybe we'll talk about blitzing in that context in a minute here. And also, obviously, these guys have really connected to Terry Smith. I mean, the Gatorade shower that's almost a cliche, but when you're picking the guy up and carrying him off the field, you don't see that anymore. That's sort of an old school thing. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I just Penn State history. I don't remember it happening since Paterno.
Oh, I remember it happening in Paterno. Yeah, it might have been. It was one of the Natties. I think maybe 82 for sure.
82. He was carried off when he became 324. Yeah, I think Bob Jones was, and and it's not like Bill O'Brien probably would have, but Bill O'Brien probably would have swung at like Zordich or Michael Motti. Speaking of that,
when Joe's hip was broken, he had to be carried around just generally. So
it was a different type of carry.
Yeah.
I have a text message here from a Oklahoma Sooners alum. Boomer Sooner baby. Maybe Kalen DeBoer. Maybe the leaves get rough.
Yeah, I don't know how to read it when one of these guys loses one game. It looks like Elko's out of it now because he got a new monster renegotiated deal. And his team came back, in case you didn't see it, folks, from down 30-3 at halftime and came back and beat South Carolina. So they are still undefeated and still headed to the playoff. and he is still a hot coach, even though he's apparently off the market.
The last time I saw a comeback like that, and we're going to get back to talking Penn State in just a second, Urban Meyer was out coaching James Franklin in the shoe.
Oh my goodness! There you go.
Sorry, softball.
And maybe James has a gig now. We're hearing, huh?
Oh, he has a gig. I just don't think it's the one he wants, because it's not going to be enough to fulfill his ego, because he's not going to the championship at Virginia Tech. So I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on that report. I think James is using them as a marketing ploy. Back to this.
That's very possible.
Yeah, back to this game. I tweeted out 3 times. We made the calls to throw the ball down the field. I may have messed up the quote a little bit because I wasn't remembering it, but it's obvious that finally Terry Smith has got what he wanted to with the ball going down the field. And Mike, I go back to what I said to you at Ohio State. I know it was the last drive, but Ohio State's first defense for the most part was in. Caleb Down was in, and Grunk Meer threw the ball downfield on 2 throws against the Buckeyes that I don't think Drew Aller would have tried to make.
Well, I'll tell you what. I got to be honest. I didn't think Grunk Meer played very well today.
He did.
Other than one play. I mean, which was a perfect play, perfect call. Everything hit just right on that one. You gotta try to hit that home. You got to swing for the fences in order to actually clear the fences, and they did on that play. But I did not think he played very well at all. He did not seem to be seeing the field. He did not seem to be in rhythm. I don't know. I don't like to use that term pocket presence because that's such a vague thing. But however you define it, I think he lacked it today. I did not think this was a step forward for him.
No, I'm with you. I just think that Grunk Meer has a little bit of that. I don't want to say Matt McGloin gunslinger in him coming out as he tries to push the ball down the field. But you're correct on the pocket presence comment, in my opinion, because he ran into a couple things. He put pressure on himself by, like, what was it? The one he ran into a block and then ended up being sacked. I don't think he scrambled with intention for a lot today to actually make the throw. So yeah, I don't think he had a great game. His stat line is a good game, I should say. 8 for 13, 127 yards, 9.8 average, 2 touchdowns. Didn't turn the ball over, which that's why I said for a large majority of this game, I thought Penn State looked like a competent football team. They didn't really do a lot to kind of shoot themselves in the face or in the foot, excuse me. Very bad terminology, right?
Really?
Oh yeah. In honor of Dick Cheney and a hunting trip. May he rest in peace. Man, we're throwing up a bunch of history out there today. But the run game, the running backs look great. Nick Singleton, 15 for 56, 3.7 yards. I still think when they use him correctly, he flashes when he's outside. I don't understand a couple times, 3 times up the middle, and it wasn't in a counter formation. It was just bland. The one time was on a delay on 3rd and 4. And
I thought they did a lot of movement with the offensive line. I thought they did a lot of creative things with the offensive line in terms of pulling people, in terms of the things they used to do with Big Vega. There was a Cooper Cousins sighting or 2.
It was.
Yeah, and I thought he looked like he is healthy now if he wasn't before. So in the second half, I thought their offensive line played well. In the first half, I didn't think they played very well. And Terry Smith didn't think so either, based on his interview as he was leaving the field at halftime when he said, we should be winning up front against this team, and we're not. So, yeah.
Yeah, and blunt and to the point. I again, love everything about Terry Smith. Him being raised up, just seeing the pure joy on his face is just, it's something we haven't seen around the team. We have not seen a lot of smiles
a lot of smiling. There's been a lot of good news. You're right. And they've kind of come out the other side of what has been a crazy free fall type thing. And they're still showing up and they're still competing. And you got to think Terry Smith gets a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. If he wants to be at Penn State, he should be at Penn State. If he wants to go somewhere else, he should not have a shortage of jobs. because Terry Smith gets it done as a position coach. He's getting it done as a motivator right now. Mike, your thoughts on Kaytron Allen? 25 for 181, 7.2 yards per carry. I mean, damn, that's a Larry Johnson stat line right there. And you know that I think the world of Larry Johnson. I think he's, in my opinion, Larry Johnson's the best running back at Penn State. As I've gotten older, I've gravitated to Larry Johnson being the best running back of all time at Penn State. Kaytron Allen is now, if my math is correct, 139 yards short of breaking Evan Royster's all-time record at 3,932 yards. That last drive for Kaytron Allen, in my opinion, pretty much assures that it's going to happen. I think he'll get more than 140 yards over the course of 2 games against Nebraska and Rutgers. Where's he rank? Where's he rank for you?
Oh man, I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Put you on the spot with that.
He's somewhat. I mean, he's in the top 10. He's in the top 10. I'd have to. I mean, I can't put him ahead of Saquon. I can't put him ahead of Johnson. Can't put him ahead of Kurt Warner. I can't put him ahead of Lydell Mitchell. I mean, you start adding up Penn State running backs. It's a pretty rich history. But I'll tell you on Tuesday. Let me get back in.
He's pretty unique in his style amongst all the guys that are in Penn State's top 10 list. And that same goes for Nick Singleton, who passed Tony Hunt today. He's also in, I think Nick passed Tony Hunt. I know he was a yard short at some point. Also really, but just his performance, Kaytron's performance and what he's been able to do.
Well, Kaytron had a 42-yarder in the last drive, in the drive where they scored to make it 21-10 and kind of put the game away. That drive, by the way, 13 plays, 76 yards, 9 minutes and 5 seconds, and it was all on the ground, except that technically the touchdown was a pass on that end around to Devontae. It really was a running play, but it will go down as a pass because it was kind of pitched forward a little bit. So anyway, and the Penn State offensive line, the offense in general, the ground game in general, but more than any other individual, Kaytron Allen is the guy who wore Michigan State down and out so that he could get that 42-yarder and so that he could get the 25-yarder at the end of the game. So that's 70 yards on 2 plays. That's almost half of his total on 2 plays, but it was because of the pounding and the pounding and the pounding and the turning 1 yard into 3 and 3 into 5 over and over and over made that possible.
Yeah, it was good to see him bounce back, and he didn't come in the media room last week after Indiana. He had the fumble. For him, it was good to see him bounce back, that there wasn't really a hangover after that, after he put it on the turf against the Hoosiers. Defensively, I think if you're a Penn State fan, it's agonizingly frustrating, maybe borderline on anger, to watch Penn State's defense take the field the last 2 weeks and absolutely see them play a completely different style of football than what they played against Oregon, what they played against UCLA, what they played against Northwestern, and what they played against Iowa. We talked to the guys last week after Ohio State, and if I was out in Michigan State, I'd be asking the same questions. So many blitzes are coming from, I say, exotic places just to get them thinking a little bit, but just coming from different places. It's why? Like, why now? And I don't understand why it took this long, but seeing Penn State's defense play this way, they finally got to the quarterback, and it is like this production was possible in all of those games that I just mentioned. And I know they were playing a backup quarterback, but all of the production from getting to the quarterback was possible in all these previous games, with the exception of maybe Ohio State.
Well, they blitzed 50% of the time against on drop back pass plays last week against Indiana. It seemed to me like, if anything, the figure was even higher this week. And they had 5 sacks, they had 8 tackles for loss, and they got a turnover out of that pass rush. Now you can get burned with the pass rush if you're blitzing like crazy against Ohio State. You can against the likes of Ohio State with a guy who could get rid of it quick to world-class receivers, it can burn you. I mean, it's not always the answer, but Knowles at some point recognized my philosophy might be read and react, but I just gotta we just have to blitz. We just have to attack, and they did that. And I thought, and and they also got 2 roughing the passer penalties in a row, which were unbelievably stupid. Oh, I thought those were good calls.
I didn't think. I thought I think the first one's a product of.
The first one was more marginal than the other.
Yeah, the first one's just a product of just protecting quarterbacks, and if I don't think if that hit would have happened on Penn State and it wasn't called, I don't think we'd be sitting here saying, "Oh, that had to be a roughing the passer."
No, but you're as a defensive player, you need more awareness. You're winning no advantage from what he did there, and you're giving the refs an opportunity to make a call. So anyway, that was pretty stupid, I thought. But and the other thing, if we're talking about decisions and mistakes and that mental mistakes, I mean, I thought when they had 4th and 3 and it was a long 3 near the end of the first half, and they went for it, and then Grunk Meer did not make a very good play, which again that sort of exemplified his day, indecisive, sort of just wandering around in the pocket, and ended up getting sacked when it's 4th down. Just throw it, throw it in the end zone. Anyway. I thought that was a poor decision by Terry Smith and then a bad play by Grunk Meer. And the kind of thing that, if James Franklin does it, he probably gets ripped a little bit more. But anyway, more good than bad on this Saturday.
Just want to call us out for predictions. I think all of us had like 31, 34, 10 to 17 in the point. Right.
I had a little higher scoring, but we weren't too far off. Yeah.
That field goal would have been good for me. I know that that field goal. I had Michigan State at 16.
I can't believe you don't factor your feelings into it, big guy.
My feelings are very important. My feelings are very important. Dani Dennis-Sutton, and it goes back. I bring this up because of like Zane Durant saying about leaders having to take accountability and showing up and going through the process every single week. Dani Dennis-Sutton is playing hard. And again, these were 2, 3, and 6 teams. Obviously, he came out and played hard. On the flip side, Darius Dixon, young guy, I thought he had a great game. I did. He got beat. Dani Dennis-Sutton bailed him out by getting
Yeah, right. There was a lot of times I thought when Michigan State kind of had the ball in space a little bit and just get him on the ground. They did that. They did that a lot of times. I thought just tackling, just get the guy on the ground. And Dixon was one of those guys. I thought he had a good game in that respect. Elliot Washington did some things in that way too. Zaki, as usual. All those D-backs, I thought. The tackling was pretty good. Once in a while, if you're blitzing all the time, once in a while when you're in man coverage, there's going to be wide open space in front of the quarterback, and he's going to be able to run a little bit. That's just something that you can't account for everything. There's too many things to account for. But I really did think that the first play of the game was a 57 Michigan State's first snap of the game, 57-yard touchdown on a basic running play, and but other than that. I mean, Michigan State had like 170 yards. The rest of the game, Michigan State had like 170 yards. I thought the defense really played pretty well, and tonight Dennis-Sutton blocked his 3rd punt of the year.
Ties officially goes past Nathan Stupar, a former guest of the Blue White Tailgate. Nathan did have 3 blocks in the season, but he only gets credit for 2 because he tackled the punter on the 1. That should count as a block in my. So
now that is Penn State trivia, my friend.
So that just happens. Amare Campbell at linebacker again continues to play really good. Mike, did you happen to see his? I mean, he had a thud. He had a thud on one of the backs from Michigan State coming through the hole. I'm not sure if it was Tolliver or not, but he lit somebody up. And Amare Campbell continues to play well for Penn State.
He's had a good year.
Yeah, remember, he's the one after Ohio State, folks. He's the one that said do your job. Since he's kind of said that, we've seen guys, I feel, doing their job. Dani Dennis-Sutton kind of freelance. I think I would have to ask a coach. Did he freelance on the one where he had the backing coverage and then came up to attack the quarterback on the drag across?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Maybe.
I'm not sure what the assignment is there coming across the field.
Well,
But
he did not have a sack in a Big Ten game until yesterday, this year, or until last week. I'm sorry, against Indiana.
the one was waved off against Indiana on a defensive holding penalty. So,
and he had 2 today, and he also had that one where I think the guy was kind of holding him, and he was down, and he kind of got collided with the quarterback's legs as he was trying to throw. I mean, in effect, it wasn't very elegant, but in effect, he blew up that play too.
Yep.
And 8 TFLs, that's pretty good for the defense as a group.
even.
Yeah, I thought the defense played well.
Alex Tash at linebacker has got some reps, and Keon Wiley has played more and more as the years gone on. Terry
Wiley, I forgot about him. He was
Wiley,
good.
He was good, and he had a big tackle on as a spy, which again immediately flashes back to UCLA. Every time I see something happen that I think, like, we've asked about this, fans have blown up about it, and it's like it's happening now. And I know it's weeks.
I know. You're
but
right.
But I'm like, oh, there's a spy. That probably would have been good out at the Rose Bowl, and we might be talking about a totally different situation with this football team.
I thought about that a lot today. I might write about that. Just the idea that there are so many things when you watch this team play. There's so many things that you think, why couldn't this have been? What went wrong here? It's hard not to think of. It's hard not to watch the entire game in that context.
We're talking for 22 minutes, and because we're thinking of the why hasn't this happened before, and it's perplexing. Why did it take so long to see the defense, again, taking the Ohio State game out of it, against teams with lesser quarterbacks? Why did it take so long to see a defense that actually attacked? To hear Gary Danielson say, Jim Knowles has said, I got to do what this defense likes to do, and that's get after it, bringing blitzes from multiple spots. It obviously worked against Indiana. It obviously worked today against Michigan State, albeit Michigan State is not any good. Michigan State's quarterback is not good, and they're on their backup quarterback as well. But we see these things over and over again. And going back to what Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler were talking about, Andy Kotelnicki saying, essentially, again, according to the announcers, that we felt we had to get the wide receivers the ball a lot because we paid for them to come to us in the portal. Wow. And I go back to Audrey Snyder's question during the bye week, Andy, where did it all go wrong? And it was, Frank said, well, what do you want him to say? When he said, I don't know. I would say that's where it went wrong. That's where it went wrong, because that wasn't the identity of this team at all. It wasn't Drew Aller forcing the ball down the field. It was, we didn't have receivers catch the ball. Exactly. And you still made it to the college football semifinal. Your bread and butter was the offensive line and running the ball.
Yeah, but Tyler Warren too.
And Tyler Warren. But if you're banking on 3 wide receivers coming in here out of the portal, and you're saying as a coach, we thought we had to feed them the ball, and then you didn't do a good job in the portal. You didn't do a good job of evaluating who was going to fit with your team. And that's why James Franklin is not the head coach at Penn State right now.
Well, I think you're reading a little too much into that comment, big guy. Because I don't think over the course of the season they forced the ball to the wide receivers. I thought they didn't. They just didn't. Their passing game was just non-existent, and another thing is the tight ends were not a factor today in the other than as
one drop. Yeah, one drop.
Yeah, I mean, oh my, a lot of moving parts, as we have said many times.
A lot of moving parts. We're going to look forward to hearing from Frank Bodani later tonight when he calls us. Let us know what's going on. Make sure you're logging on and subscribing to the Gross Rational Product. Mike Gross's Substack does a great job all season.
Let me plug a little bit. I'm going to have the report card here in a few minutes. That'll be posted on Gross Rational Product, and then I'm going to write a column about the game. I'm not even sure what I'm going to write about, but some of these things that we've just talked about will be in there too. So that should be up in addition to this extravaganza right here as soon as it's available.
Absolutely. And Frank Bodani, all his stuff is available at York Daily Record, YDR.com. Make sure you're following Frank on social media at YDR Penn State. Want to make sure we give him a shout out. I want to thank everybody for tuning in every single week after the game. We really want to thank you for that. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Tell your friends about it. It's a free podcast. You got 2 Heisman Trophy voters as well as myself, trying to give you the insight into Penn State football, though Mike and I aren't at the game this weekend. The whole entire Penn State beat does not travel. We'll be back at it next week in Beaver Stadium. I want to thank Wrapping Paper for coming on board in Concha Hawken. Looking forward to having a great guest. And I'll just tease it. We're supposed to have a former Penn State quarterback that wore number 14 coming on the program on Tuesday to talk. Well, I'm not telling you who it is. I'm just saying number 14. There's been a multitude of quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's been a couple. You're right.
Penn State. So you guys could go back through that, but we're really looking forward to that as well. And, who knows? We'll update the coaching search. We're hearing stuff all the time. The fun time. It's kind of a fun time again to be covering Penn State right now. Because
no doubt. And I'm telling you, this offseason is going to be fascinating. I'm actually looking forward to the way this is. I don't have any idea how it's going to play out, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Mike, plug your stuff once again at the Gross Rational Product, because you got Penn State basketball content coming up.
Yes, yeah. At Mike Gross GRP is the Twitter and Blue Sky and all that. And then it's just Gross Rational Product. Google it, or if you go on Substack, it's Gross Rational Product. Just search for it, and it'll show up. And we'll have a lot of Penn State stuff on there in the next couple hours, and more tomorrow. The market report coming tomorrow, by the way.
Drop your comments below. We had Jay Paterno on the program this past week. Hopefully you enjoyed that, talking about Jay's book and also himself. Mike, I leave you with this. Penn State basketball behind Mike Rhodes got to 4 wins this year before Penn State football. That does it for this edition of the Blue White Tailgate Podcast. Hoops Valley is fully engaged. Penn State men's basketball is off to a great start. They beat LaSalle today out of Philadelphia. Good win. Penn State's playing some good basketball. Good win over Navy as well this past week. So congratulations to Coach Rhodes on that. Keep the mojo going there for a friend of both of ours. I've known Mike Rhodes a long time. You've known Mike Rhodes a long time as well. So that does it for this edition. Drop your comments below. Tell us what we missed. Tell us what we screwed up on. And we'll try to get there on Tuesday as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great one.